Purity is one of the hardest things for young people to talk about. Some feel pressure from the world to give it away. Others carry guilt because they already did. And many are quietly wondering, is it even possible to stay pure anymore? And if I've already messed up, does God still want me? Today we're talking about purity, why God designed it, why it matters, and why failure doesn't have to define your future. Because the same God who calls us to holiness also offers forgiveness and the power of a brand new heart. This is the Promised Land Pursuit.
Hello and welcome to the Promised Land Pursuit. My name is Mario Shadina and I'm here with my wife, Emily Shadina.
Hi, thank you for joining us today.
We're glad that you could be with us, and we're going to start this podcast off with another game like we did last week, except I'm going to be asking the questions this time.
Oh boy.
And so I'll be asking the questions, and my wife will be giving an answer to them. And since she put me on the spot last time, it is my turn. And she has no idea what mine are going to be. Well, she does. Basically, a little bit of an idea, but she has not seen them. So basically, I'm going to do the same thing that you did for me, which is going to be basically you have to tell me if it is the Bible or if it is not.
Okay, I feel like I kept it simple on you. So.
These are simple. These are not going to be hard.
Dear.
Your hardest thing, I think, is going to be that you don't know like movie quotes at all. So you got to think like if it's like something you're like that doesn't sound like the Bible, that it's definitely most likely a movie quote. I don't know.
Okay.
You have to figure it out yourself. All right. Are you ready?
I guess.
Round one. Here we go. All right. First one. You cannot handle the truth.
That's a movie quote.
You can't handle the truth.
Yes.
All right. See, it's not going to be too hard. Not going to be too hard.
First one.
All right. Who keepeth his mouth and his tongue keepeth his soul from troubles.
Okay, that's Bible.
All right. Very good.
That's
it
too
is Bible.
easy.
It's going to get harder. So
Okay.
take advantage of these easy ones.
Okay, 2 points.
All right. Some of these are going to be, it's hard to get different ones from even mine. So some of them are going to be kind of like a recap from what you heard me. So if you listen to the ones that you asked me last time, you might have a couple.
Attention. Okay.
All right. Next one. This too shall pass.
Movie.
I don't know, chat.
Uh-oh. Bible.
Is this a movie?
This too shall pass. I feel like it's a movie.
See, I can make you squirm. It is, it's just a saying, and I believe it is a movie. I actually don't have, like, what it is from. Some of them it tells me what it's from. Some of it, it just says that it's a saying. But I'm pretty sure that's actually Lord of the Rings, This Too Shall Pass. Could be wrong. Could just be a saying. I don't know.
Could just believe
Could be in the Bible somewhere, but...
Yeah, it's a Bible quote from a movie.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. All right. Here's another one. A merry heart doeth good like a medicine, but a broken spirit drieth the bones.
That is a proverb in the Bible.
Incorrect. No, I'm kidding. You're right.
Yeah.
Proverbs 17:22, for those of you who want to know. Here's a major hard one for you. Are you ready? Houston, we have a problem.
Ooh, okay, Matthew. No.
No, Acts chapter 13.
I was so close.
All right. Here's another one. Oh, yeah. See, some of these are going to be really easy for you, but maybe for some of our listeners, this will put you on your toes. A soft answer turneth away wrath. Bible. Very good. If you don't stop and look around once in a while, you could miss it.
Ooh, movie.
Yes.
Or quote.
It's a movie and everything. Here's another one. You can observe a lot just by watching. You can observe a lot just by watching.
Is it a movie quote?
You tell me.
Or is it a biblical
It is a saying, so
okay.
it's not
or
directly.
saying.
It's not directly biblical.
Okay.
He that is slow to anger is better than the mighty.
That's Bible.
Yes, and he that ruleth his spirit than he that taketh a city. That is Bible, Proverbs 16. Here's another easy one for you. A good name is rather to be chosen than great riches, and loving favor rather than silver and gold.
Bible.
It is not the years, it is the mileage.
Saying?
It's not the years, honey. It's the mileage.
What is that from?
Indiana Jones.
Oh.
Yes, it is. It is a movie. Here we go. The only thing you have to fear is fear itself.
That's a saying.
Yes, that's a popular one.
Yeah.
Iron sharpeneth iron, so a man sharpeneth the countenance of his friend.
Bible.
A man's heart deviseth his own ways, but his steps are directed.
The Bible.
The Bible. I find your lack of faith disturbing.
Is that a saying?
What, I mean,
that can't be the Bible.
For those of you out there, you should know, if you're a fan, you would know right away. I find your lack of faith disturbing. That is Star Wars. That's that's a classic.
Oh.
That is a classic.
Obviously, I don't watch that.
Yeah, I know. All right, just a few more. Be the change that you want to see in the world.
I feel like I saw that hanging up in my elementary school. So that's a saying.
Yes, it is a saying. He that answereth a matter before he heareth it, it is folly and shame unto him.
Bible.
Yes. And here you go. I'm just one stomach flu away. I'm just one stomach flu away from my goal weight.
Oh, no. Saying?
No, proverb. That's a good proverb.
Oh, my goodness.
No, that is a movie quote from a movie. Wow.
That's funny.
Yeah. That I didn't read all those either, so that one caught me as well. But hey, let's jump into the podcast now, a little bit more serious. And today we're talking about purity. And so God's design for purity. 1 Thessalonians chapter 4, it says this, "For this is the will of God, even your sanctification, that ye should abstain from fornication, that every one of you should know how to process his vessel in sanctification and honor." So God has a standard for purity, and it's not about restriction, but it's about protection. And so that's something that we need to get a hold of. You know, we tend to think, I can't do all these things because I'm a Christian and all this, and God's just putting a whole bunch of rules up, and I can't do this and I can't do that, and just it's all rules. But it's not about the rules. It's about protecting yourself. So understand that sex was designed by God for the safety of the marriage covenant. And so outside of that covenant, when you are intimate with somebody, it brings lasting emotional wounds, broken trust, and spiritual distance. So it's not about God trying to limit your life. It's about God trying to protect your heart. He's trying to protect you. And so if we look at, you want to judge something the proper way, you put it up against what the world believes and what the Bible believes. And so if you look at what the world says about our purity, it shows you really the massive difference in what the world believes and what God believes when you start comparing it to the world. Romans chapter 12 says this, "And be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind." So the world treats purity as outdated. Culture sends messages that purity is unrealistic, right? Everybody's doing it. Everybody is being intimate before marriage. They say that it doesn't matter. Your purity doesn't matter. But God is calling believers to live differently from the culture around them. And just because something is normal in our culture, it doesn't mean that it's healthy for us. And we have to really grasp that just because the majority of other people are doing it doesn't mean that it's good for you. Just because a whole bunch of people are doing it doesn't mean that you should do it. I remember there was a time where we were out at the trampoline park. A lot of people can do a lot of cool stunts on the trampoline, but doesn't mean that you should necessarily do those tricks because you could get yourself hurt. And so we have to really look at what the world is saying compared to what God is trying to say. And so God is not putting up these rules just because he's up there with a big stick and he wants to just rule over your life and command you to do all these things. And so you can never have any fun and you can never do anything with your life except for what he says and all this. Now, what he wants to do is he wants to put rules and guardrails up and guidelines up so that you are protecting yourself, so that as you go through this life, the storms and the trials that you go through are actually those ones to make you stronger in this life. But there are scars that you will remember for years and years if you mess yourself up right now in your life. I've got plenty of scars and things that I can look back to and say, man, I wish I didn't do that. And well, the problem is, you can't go back. You cannot go back in time. You can't change it. One moment involved in that sin can really affect the rest of your life, especially depending on what sin it is. And so just because something is normal in culture, just because the world has changed the normal to something else, doesn't mean God has changed anything, and it doesn't mean it's healthy for you. So understand this. Even godly people have fallen into sexual sin. So this is important for you. Don't feel alone. Don't feel like you're the only person, because even some of the most spiritual people that we know in the Bible have failed in this area. 2 Samuel chapter 11, it says this, and it came to pass that David arose from off his bed, and from the roof he saw a woman washing herself. And David sent and inquired after the woman, and he sent messengers, and he took her. And King David was labeled a man after God's own heart, but yet he still fell into deep, immoral, and sexual sin. So even people that love God, even people that are just all gung-ho serving God and giving their life to the Lord, they can fall. But falling does not have to define you. It doesn't have to shape your entire future, right? Anybody can fall, but you need to learn how to get back up and accept this next segment that we have here is that God offers forgiveness. So you can sit here and say, Brother Mario, Miss Emeal, I've messed up. I've already given my purity away. And it is a scar in your life, and maybe it's something that you look back on and you regret it and it's shameful to you. Understand, God offers forgiveness, not just partial forgiveness. I love this, but God offers complete forgiveness for everything, complete cleansing. 1 John 1:9 says, if we confess our sins, he is faithful and just to forgive us our sins and to cleanse us from all unrighteousness. Not just a little bit, not just some of it. So that's saying this, there is nothing that you can do that is too big for God to be able to forgive and to cleanse, right? He doesn't offer that partial forgiveness. He offers complete cleansing for you. So many young people, they carry this shame around thinking, God's disappointed in me. God is not happy with my life. And maybe there are some things in your life God isn't happy with. And maybe God is disappointed in certain things. But if you've gotten forgiveness for those things, we talked about it in the last podcast, just like my family growing up, we tried to practice that forgive and then we move on, right? Get disciplined and then we move on. I believe the Bible, I believe God shows us the same thing. You forgive, he cleanses you, and then we move on. We're not going to stay there. It's not going to ruin your entire life. Let's move past it, and from here on out, let's start serving God and do something for him. So many young people, but we live in the thought, God's disappointed in me. I've ruined my future marriage. Understand, confession leads to real forgiveness and cleansing. So your worst mistake is not stronger than God's grace. I love God's grace is sufficient for me. So the worst thing that you have ever done, it's not bigger than God's grace. God is able to forgive you for it. You just have to trust in that. And if you can't get past it, then that's the problem. You just don't trust God. You say, wait, well, I do trust God. Well, then you have forgiveness and you can move on. You don't have to stay there. So God not only forgives, but I love this, he can give you a new heart. So Psalms chapter 51, David, we just talked about it. He messed up, right? He got in love, fell in love with another woman, Uriah's wife, and took her for himself. and felt so bad about it later on down the road. In Psalm chapter 51, he says this. He's crying out to the Lord, and he says, "Create in me a clean heart, O God, and renew a right spirit within me." David was praying after this sin, but he didn't just ask for forgiveness. He asked God to change him, to transform him. So real forgiveness, here's one of the keys. We think we can just do any sin, and then I'll just ask God to forgive me, and I can just move on. But that's not real repentance. Real repentance is saying, I want God to forgive me and to change me. I'm not going to live like this anymore. I'm not going to try to just seek forgiveness so that I can get my own conscience to be okay and I can move on through life and I'll feel better about myself. That's not what this is about. This is about you truly feel bad for an act of sin that you have committed. You want God to forgive you, to cleanse you, so that you can biblically go and sin no more. So purity isn't just about behavior modification. It's about heart transformation. God wants to transform your life. So God can change our desires. God can heal your shame. He can restore your dignity, and God can give you a fresh start today. It doesn't matter if you have messed up in the past, and it doesn't even have to be this sexual sin. We're talking about purity right now, but it can be about anything. God can forgive you. It doesn't matter what you have done. His forgiveness is there if you truly want it. You can ask him for it, but he expects you, after he forgives you, to get up and not do it anymore, to move on. He doesn't just forgive your past, but he can change your heart. So I want to ask this, why is purity such a difficult topic for people today, especially young people? And the reason, I believe, is because we live in a generation where people are being pulled in two completely different directions. See, God says purity matters. Culture says it doesn't. Culture is loud about it, right? It's all over social media. Social media normalizes impurity. It normalizes sexual sin. It's everywhere. Every reel that you're on, you can watch reels for a minute, 60 seconds. You scroll through a couple reels, there it is. Immorality, sexual sin. It's just everywhere. And they make it into a joke. You'll find that a lot of the times. If they can get you to laugh about it, it'll become normal. Right? And so social media will normalize it. Music glorifies it. There's so much music out there that's glorifying sexual sin, making a joke out of it, making it like it's not that big of a deal. Friends, they can pressure you for it, right? I believe you were talking to me before the podcast about that.
Yeah.
For you in school, right?
I just remember in high school that there was a guy in my class who I would consider him a part of the popular crowd. And I want to say I was a freshman, and he had never kissed a girl before, but I wasn't even friends with him. And just being in class, I could hear his friends pressuring him and encouraging him. I can't believe you've never kissed a girl.
Yeah.
We need to get someone for this guy.
Yeah.
And that's what they would talk about, is him finding a girl so that he could have his first kiss. And so I know that later in the year, he did end up getting a girlfriend. They got him with someone. And then that became the talk of in the class, that he had his first kiss. And it's sad to me looking back at how he was pressured by his friends to do that and how he gave into that.
Yeah. And it doesn't even have to be like, it might not have even been his desire to start with, but it became his desire because everybody else is talking about how they did it.
Yeah.
Everybody else is talking about their experience or what happened with them. And, before you know it, it became his desire because of that peer pressure of everybody around him.
And that peer pressure can be so loud in your head, but there's other people out there that are trying to live pure.
Yeah.
And so, but unfortunately, it's the unpure that seems so much louder.
Oh, yeah. I think that's true about a lot of things, especially for the Christians.
Yeah.
The world is so loud about what they believe and how they feel, and they'll protest and they'll do all these kind of things about what they believe. And here are the Christians, the ones who are trying to live right, and we're just sitting quietly in the background. And in all honesty, we can't do that as Christians. I'm not telling you to grab a picket sign and go out there and start protesting what you believe. You do what you feel like the Lord wants you to do, but we cannot just sit silently and be quiet about how God is leading us as Christians and allow the people in your life. Look at the friends that you might have. Are people pressuring them to do these kind of things? Because you should be that voice for them that says, hey, look, that you don't want to do that.
Right. And I know some of you listeners also have family maybe that are even pressuring you to live impure. And we want to be that voice that you hear saying, you don't do it because it's not worth it. And you just want to live right. You want to live the way the Lord intends, because that's what's going to bring true happiness. Yeah.
Yeah. And so temptation is constantly accessible. Social media, it's everywhere. It's loud.
Yes. Yeah.
And, you know, the culture that is so loud today, understand this, you know, culture is loud, right? The devil walketh about as a roaring lion, seeking about whom he may devour, right? Roaring lion. I like the Bible says the word roaring because he's loud about it. He wants to be loud. But what does the Bible say God is? A still small voice. So here is social media. Here is the world. Here is the devil. He's loud. He's yelling. He's out there. He's public. But the Lord is supposed to be that still small voice inside of you saying, hey, look, I know the world is loud about this, but you need to rein it back, get in the Word of God, get some godly influences in your life, and stay away from that kind of stuff. And see, one of the biggest problems I think we have today is that no one is really honestly talking about purity in a healthy way so that people don't feel that pressure to just give in, or that they feel ashamed if they already have given into it. So nobody's talking about it. Just like we've mentioned, you know, the topic of pornography. I think a lot of people are into pornography because nobody talks about it anymore. Nobody talks about the dangers of it. Nobody preaches on it in the pulpits. There's not topics most of the time in most churches. I don't really know if it's been a while since I've really heard a preacher get up and preach on purity, sexual sin. It's just something that's not preached on very much anymore. And so we've got to get back to that kind of stuff. Look up verses on it. And remember, it is something that God, it's sacred. It's a covenant to the Lord. Your purity is a covenant. So purity is hard today because temptation is constant. Pressure is normal. And the truth is often silenced today about what it will do, how it will affect you and me. And so we've got to realize, we've got to figure out what can happen in your life and in my life when we're not pure and when we're not staying faithful to God and keeping those covenants sacred to the Lord. So the question is this, you know, if I want to keep my purity, you know, how do I do it? Because Miss Emily just said it, you know, there are people out there that are trying to live pure. There are people, and I talked about it in the last podcast. My wife was one of them. She is somebody that didn't have a boyfriend until she met me. And that was at, 18, 19 years old. So she remained pure all the way up until she met me at 18, 19 years old. That means as a young person, as a teenager, you can stay pure all the way through that. Because statistically right now, by the age of 14 years old, half of all 14-year-olds have already dabbled in pornography or sexual sin, physical sexual sin, by age 14. And so, but here's the thing. If half of them are, statistically, that means half of them aren't.
Right.
And so you don't have to get involved in it. It is possible for you to stay pure. And if you have messed up, like I said before, you can get forgiveness, you can get healing, and you can continue to move on in your Christian life. It is not the end of your ministry and the end of the world, but it is something that you have to truly ask God to forgive you, and so that you can move on. Purity doesn't just happen. It has to be prepared for. And we talked about this. And so how do you prepare for it? Set up boundaries. And here's the key: early. Not just in the moment. Don't set up boundaries after you've already started doing things, right? Oh, well, we're already alone. We're already holding hands. We're already doing this. Now we need to set up some boundaries, because now it's going to be even harder to set those up. Let's say you just get into a relationship immediately. Hey, look, these are the boundaries that we need to set up so that you can avoid tempting environments, late nights alone, isolation where the two of you are just by yourselves. We want to avoid these things, so we have to prepare for them so that they don't end up happening. Make sure that they don't happen. Date with a purpose. We talked about this last week, with a purpose, not just feelings. So when you date somebody, it should be with the intent to marry that person, right? So if you're going to do that and you don't want to mess up, because here's the thing, you can say, well, I do love so-and-so and I do want to marry so-and-so, but what if that doesn't happen? So here it is, you gave away some of your heart to that person, and then it just doesn't happen. So you can sit back and you say, oh, well, I really thought he was the one. Okay, but he wasn't. So it's too late. There's no going back now. And so we have to be careful not to give up our purity until the time comes where you get married and God has now made that marriage covenant for you two to be able to do those intimate things in God's design. So set boundaries early, avoid tempting environments, date with a purpose, not just feelings, have accountability. I think this is a big one as well. Somebody who can ask real questions, somebody you can ask real questions to. Have accountability, but make sure you get somebody that is godly, somebody that is spiritual, not a best friend, somebody that can look from the outside looking in and say, hey, look, I don't think you should be doing this, or I don't think you should do that, or you should stay clear of this. And so have somebody that you can be accountable to. I like this as far as messaging goes. Don't be texting, guys and girls texting. It so easily becomes more than what you're bargaining for. It costs you more. Before you know it, you're deleting messages so that nobody can see. That's a red flag. We talked about those. If you have to watch out who touches your phone, that's a red flag. My wife knows. She has access to my phone at any time. She has all my passwords. I've got hers. She can access my phone. I can access her phone. I leave my phone on the whatever. I have a magnet on my phone, and so sometimes I magnetize my phone to the microwave because I've got my shocks on and I'm listening to something, and then I walk out of the house and it's still playing and it's in the background, and sometimes I just forget about it, and then I can't find my phone. I have no idea where my phone is. But you know what I'm not doing? I'm not panicking in fear. Why? Because I don't have anything to hide. So if you're hiding things, that's a red flag for you, something you need to watch out for. And so having accountability is a good thing, not a bad thing. Guard what you watch and what you listen to, because this is what shapes your mind. It's what shapes your desires. So you need to guard what you're watching and what you're listening to. What you're watching, those reels that are constantly on your phone, it's going to shape your mind. You'll start desiring things that you never thought you were going to desire, and it all comes from you've been watching certain things, and you watch them a lot, and then your phone knows that you're watching them, so it sends you more things about that. We got plenty of experience with that. Cell phone just sending us constant reels on dogs or whatever it is that we're talking about. All that kind of stuff. Another thing was when I was growing up, I remember as a young person, when there was something inappropriate that came up on TV, I would immediately turn my head. I would immediately close my eyes. I would not watch. There could be people all around me, and I would just immediately turn my head. And that is something that you have to put yourself in that position. You have to be so used to doing that. I remember sitting down with a group of people, and we were watching something, and all of a sudden, there it was on the TV, something wildly inappropriate and something that was just really bad. And I immediately just put my head down, and I would not watch, and I would not look at that TV because I did not want to have that in my mind. And I remember at the end of the night, one of the ladies walked up to me, and she told me, she said, look, she said, I watched you when that came up on the show, and I saw how you turned your head and you turned your eyes, and I looked around and none of the other guys were doing that. And it really impressed her, and it meant something to her. And she said, I appreciate that you grew up that way and that you have trained yourself that way so that you can steer clear of that. And that's something that you can do as well.
Yeah.
Learn how to do that. Learn how to just guard your eyes. Don't allow this filth to get into your mind, because then you dwell on it and it will shape how you think.
And that's something that I'm trying to teach our daughter right now, who's only 9.
Yeah.
But she likes YouTube. She likes to watch her strange little shows on YouTube. And
So strange.
it is strange, but it's like the algorithm knows that it's a child watching videos and it's targeting her. And it made me so mad the other day, something that she didn't even click on, nothing that she is searching, but it's like it knew it was a child and it popped up a video. And so I made up my mind. I'm like, well, unfortunately at 9 years old, this is the time that I have to start talking to her about the terrible stuff that's out on the internet, searching for her. And I have to teach her. I'm teaching her right now. We're going through a little devotional book together on turning away from that stuff, swiping it away, not dwelling on it. And that goes even for the ladies. And I had to tell her that. And I'm like, listen, it's not just the guys seeing something inappropriate on TV. It's even the ladies. And I had to talk to her about seeing a man, without a shirt on or something. And she's like, wait, I shouldn't be looking at that. And I'm like, oh my goodness, she's so boy crazy already. But I'm like, no, that's really not something that we should be looking at and what we should be dwelling on.
Yeah. And it some people out there, you might think that that's ridiculous because she's 8, 9 years old and we're doing that and she's just a kid. No, it's a big deal. Yeah. It is a big deal.
Because the world is targeting you. Yep. It's targeting children. It's targeting teens.
And it starts off while you're young.
Yeah.
You start getting exposed to that kind of stuff. And just like I talked about in the beginning, it becomes a normal because culture has normalized it.
Right. And that's when addiction begins.
Yep. And so you slowly feed into it. You slowly watch it. It slowly isn't a big deal to you anymore. And then before you know it, you're hooked on it.
Just like what we talked about last week on how marriages don't just fall apart overnight. It's a little bit at a time.
Drift.
And that's, I would say that's the same way as it with addiction, is that it doesn't just necessarily start overnight, but it's like you're seeing these things. You're seeing the Victoria's Secret pictures as you're walking through the mall. You're seeing these reels online.
Even that. My wife knows, like if we walk through the mall and there's a Victoria's Secret, I try to keep my eyes away from it. I just don't even look. You say, it's just a store. They're just mannequins. I just keep my eyes away.
Yeah.
I just try to look forward, because and that's the problem. We're living in a world where it's just everywhere.
It is.
And you can't really get away from it unless you lock yourself in your house with no internet and no phone. Yeah. I mean, really, in the reality, there's no way away from it.
So how do you battle it?
Yeah, you've got to battle, and that's it.
Setting
you have
up
to
boundaries.
Battle it.
Yeah.
You've got to learn how to fight. And you got to learn how to fight for your eyes and fight for your ears,
and
what
your
you're
mind.
hearing, and your mind, because the world wants it all, and so does God. And so, who are you going to give it all to? You're either going to give it to God or you're going to give it to the world.
It's so empty in the world. Yeah. And so we truly encourage you just to give it to God. It's so much more fulfilling when you just learn to give it all to God.
Yeah. Well, I like this verse in Corinthians chapter 10. It says, "Wherefore let him that thinketh he standeth take heed, lest he fall." The biggest mistake that we think is, I'll be fine. I'll be fine. I got this. I can handle it. It's not a big deal. I'm strong enough, right? And so one of our biggest mistakes that we have as humans today is thinking that we can do this, but we really can't do this. We need God. We need his help. And that's why having that personal relationship with God is so important as well, because you cannot battle these things in life on your own. You're not strong enough. Your willpower is not strong enough. And God is strong enough. And here's the thing. I love this statement. At the end of your strength is the beginning of his. The end of your strength is just the beginning of God's. And so you are not strong enough, but guess what? He is. And if you will trust him and you will stay close to him, he can help you get through this, and you can live in this world. And instead of falling into this temptation and this sin that the world has, you can battle it and you can fight it, and others will see that and see that, hey, it is possible, once again, for a young person to remain clean and to remain pure.
Yeah, and I was just thinking about that. There have been many things in my life where, maybe this is something that you're battling, you're having issues with, and hear what we're saying, but you really don't want to give it up.
Oh, yeah.
And so I would encourage you to pray and ask the Lord to give you the desire to give it up.
Yeah.
Because there have been many things in my life where I half-heartedly had prayed to the Lord and said, this is something I know I shouldn't do and I need help with, but I don't want to do it and I can't do it.
Yeah.
And I could tell you multiple of times of how the Lord has given me the motivation. He's helped me totally do a 180 in certain areas. And they weren't like sin. They weren't big sins. They were just things that I knew I should be doing that I wasn't doing correctly. And so that makes me think of the verse in Malachi. Malachi 3:10 talks about the Lord is saying, prove me, test me, try me. Yes. And so just prove the Lord, test the Lord. And I hate to even say it like that, but if you are feeling that way where you just can't give it up, but you know you want to give it up and that you should, just pray that half-hearted prayer until God can get you fully there.
Yeah, that's good. You know, wisdom will say this: I need guardrails. That's a wise person. A wise person is one that puts up those boundaries on purpose. You don't accidentally stay pure. You have to intentionally build boundaries. You have to go bowling and put up the guardrails, right? Or you're going to get a gutter ball. Even the best
every time.
Even the best bowlers. I love bowling, and I'm not not even close to the best bowler out there. But even being a decent bowler, there are plenty of times where I get the gutter ball and I don't hit a single pin. But you know what? I would never get a gutter if I put up the guardrails. And I'm not going to say I want to bowl like that, but in life, I do want to do that. I don't want to wind up in the gutter. Not in life. In a bowling game, let's be honest, that's a game. But life is not a game. And we need the guardrails so that we don't wind up in the gutter. So why, here's another big thing, but why does culture push sexual freedom so aggressively? Because that's where it pushes its value. So culture values pleasure over purpose.
Yeah.
So it just wants you to have fun, right? Just do everything. You only get to live once,
YOLO.
Right? Yeah, you'll only live once, so you better make it a good time, right? But no, because pleasure only lasts for a season. So when that pleasure is over, you're empty. You don't have anything. That's why the world has nothing to really offer you, because all the pleasure that they have only lasts for a short amount of time, whereas the joy of the Lord is my strength. Right? Even at the darkest times, I can have peace and I can have joy because that's where I get my strength. It's from God. So our culture often values pleasure over purpose, feelings over truth. That's a big deal, feelings over truth. It's all about how you feel. It's not about how you feel. Now, emotions are great. We have emotions for a reason. God gave us emotions for a reason, right? So that we could choose God. Choose to truly love Him instead of anything else. But here's the thing. The world wants feelings over truth. Why is that a problem? Here's the problem. Because a 45-year-old man may feel like a 14-year-old, so he should be able to date a 14-year-old or date a 15-year-old, right? Well, the world, even that is kind of a stretch, so the world might say, no. But we're allowed to do it at certain things, right? Oh, well, he feels like this and he feels like that, and he feels like a girl and she feels like a boy, and so we're going to allow them to be a boy or allow them to be a girl because that's how they feel, but that's not truth. So just because we feel a certain way doesn't mean that it's the truth. Just because if I felt like a girl, it doesn't change the facts that I'm not a girl.
Right.
So feeling over truth, but that's what the world pushes. The world pushes feeling over truth. And here's a big reason why that's important. Salvation. I am glad that I'm saved. I am on my way to heaven. But here's the thing. It is not about a feeling, because there are days where I don't feel saved. But here's the truth. I am saved. I know that God has saved me. I know that I'm on my way to heaven no matter what. It doesn't matter how I feel. And so don't allow the world to push feelings over truth. Here's another one, freedom without responsibility. There, it goes back to kind of the other thing I just said, you just do YOLO, right? You just do whatever you want to do. As long as you're happy, that's all that matters. There's a deeper reality. And when people start moving away from God's design, they try to redefine what is right in order to feel justified. Isaiah chapter 5 talks about it. It says, woe unto them that call evil good and good evil. And so it's something that we have to look out for. God has designed something to be sacred inside of marriage, but culture has turned it into something that is casual. It's just something, and it's all over, once again, it's all over your TV shows, it's all over social media. It's just casual. And it's so much casual that you know exactly, you've heard this, right? Casual sex. They've got movies about casual sex. Friends with benefits. It's just casual. Oh, we're just friends, but with benefits, and she satisfies my lust and I satisfy her lust, but we're just friends. That's casual. It's just something that the world has made acceptable. But guess what? Just because the world accepts it doesn't mean that God does. And the world doesn't just ignore God's design. Satan doesn't just ignore God's design, but he's trying to replace it. He's trying to normalize things that God did not want us to normalize.
And to go along with that idea, I wrote out some lies that culture will tell us that maybe you've heard before, but the truth biblically that is opposing that lie. So one lie is it's just physical. It doesn't affect you emotionally.
Yeah.
So that's rarely true. And sex creates emotional attachment, vulnerability, and connection, whether you intend it to or not. And so the truth is that sex was designed to bond, not just be experienced. Waiting for marriage protects your heart from forming deep attachments without lasting commitment. It allows the emotional connection to grow in a safe, secure covenant instead of a temporary situation.
Remember this as well. God can break the bonds. That's why he died on the cross, to break the bonds of sin.
Yes.
To break the chains of sin. And so intimacy before marriage is a sin. God can break that. That's a chain that can be broken. God can give you freedom from that. So just because you've messed up does not mean that you have to live there, right? You can get over that and you can move on and do something for Jesus Christ.
Yeah. And another one, I feel like this is very big. You need to have sex to know if you're compatible.
Yeah.
So sexual chemistry is not the foundation of a lasting relationship. Character is.
Yep.
And we've talked about that in the past couple episodes of green flags and red flags. So communication, trust, shared values, and commitment determine the long-term success, not your sexual chemistry.
Yeah.
So the truth is, waiting shifts the focus to what actually sustains a marriage. Yep. When you build emotional and spiritual compatibility first, the physical intimacy becomes a strengthening addition, not the glue holding that relationship together.
Yeah. There are also conditions that people have developed where they can't have sex. It's painful for them and different things like that. What happens if you based your marriage off of that? You were able to be intimate before marriage, but then all of a sudden she got this disease.
Is it like an STD?
Yeah, basically, and it's painful now to have intimacy. So what do you do now? If you based your entire marriage, I want to marry this person. Why? Because of the bedroom. Well, now the bedroom's changed. So you're just going to leave them? And so it's something where conditions can change. Things can change. And it's very outward as well. That's why it's so important not just to be on the outward appearance of somebody, but to know who they are, their character and who they are in the good times and the bad times. To know them like that before marriage will also help you, because then you'll know who they are going in. It's not about the physical. It's about the personality. It's about knowing if there's their character, who they actually are.
Yeah. Another lie is everyone is doing it.
Yeah.
And that just makes me think of the peer pressure thing, like the high school situation I gave. But culture amplifies this idea, but it's not the full picture. Many people choose to wait or wish they had.
Yeah.
And once you give it away, you can't have it back. So you'd rather choose to wait than wish you hadn't.
Yeah.
The truth is, God's design has never been based on what's popular. Waiting sets you apart, not because you're missing out, but because you're choosing purpose over pressure.
Yeah.
Another lie, if you don't, you're missing out.
Yeah.
This frames sex as something you need to feel fulfilled, but many rush into it, carry regret, comparison, or emotional weight. The truth is, you're not missing out. You're saving something meaningful. When intimacy is shared within marriage, there's no comparison. There's no past baggage in that space. There's just trust, safety, and freedom. What culture calls missing out, God calls protecting something valuable.
Yeah.
And as I'm reading these, if you are someone that has already given yourself away, I just want you to make a vow today that you are going to save yourself for the future, and that these truths that we're giving out can become something that you are working towards today. So today is day one of a new you, of moving forward in purity.
This isn't just a podcast that, it falls on your ears and then, oh, cool, we listened to a good podcast today and it was about this and that's great. But it's like a preaching. It's like preaching the gospel. These podcasts are based on spiritual truths that you should apply to your lives.
Yeah.
And if you do, God can do great things in your life, just like a preacher getting up to preach.
Yeah.
I could make sermons out of these very easily, these podcasts.
And we don't want to beat you up if you have given a part of yourself away. We want to encourage you to move forward in purity.
Well, yeah, and that's something I think I made clear even in the last podcast. The truth of it is, unfortunately, I did give myself away before marriage, and I know without a doubt I am so overjoyed and grateful, and I don't deserve the wife that I have because she didn't. And it is something that I am shocked that God would ever give me somebody that was pure, because I wasn't pure. And so don't think for a moment that it's the end. Oh, I gave up a part of myself and God's never going to use me, never going to do anything with me. That is incorrect. And I definitely don't feel that way, because I know God uses me and God can use my testimony. I do wish that I didn't have that testimony. But because I have that testimony, it can be used. And my wife's, her testimony can also be used. So we have both sides of the spectrum here, somebody who remained pure and somebody who didn't. And we can both tell you, I can tell you, I wish I never did. And she can say, I'm happy that I never did.
Right.
And so.
Yeah. Okay, another lie is you can separate sex from commitment without consequences. So in reality, one person often becomes more emotionally invested, and that imbalance leads to confusion, hurt, or insecurity. So the truth is, waiting aligns intimacy with commitment. It removes the guesswork. No wondering where you stand, no mixed signals. You give your whole self in a place where someone has already chosen you fully. Another lie, your worth or desirability is tied to your sexual experience.
Yeah, that's
so,
a lie.
Yeah, this lie pressures people to prove their value through what they do. Mm-hmm. The truth is, your worth is already established. You don't earn it through intimacy. Waiting reinforces that you are valuable before anyone experiences you, not because they do.
Yeah, that was a popular thing when I was a young person growing up, right?
I'm sure it still is, yeah.
Yeah, probably still is. But if you loved me, you would be intimate with me, right? It's showing that the value of how you feel about me is based on sex. It's not, and it shouldn't be. And if that is ever said to you, run, because that's just a lie. That's a lie of the devil. If you loved me, then you'd show me that you love me. You would be intimate with me. If you loved them, you'd stay clean. You'd stay pure for them. And that's just the actual truth. So.
Yeah. Okay. The last lie I have is the best way to get over someone is to get under someone else. That doesn't heal. It distracts. It delays growth, and it often creates deeper wounds. So the truth is, waiting forces real healing. Instead of carrying brokenness into the next relationship, you become whole first. Yeah. That's what prepares you for a healthy, lasting marriage. not a cycle of emotional entanglement.
Yeah, because the world says, and you know it in the dating world, as a rebound.
Exactly.
Yeah, and so it's like, oh, you're discouraged or whatever because so and so broke up with you. Well, the best way to get over it is to get another boyfriend, and you'll get that rebound.
Yeah, and the rebound never ends up staying. Like, that's not a lasting relationship.
And for some reason, the world makes you think, oh, well, that was just to help you get over that past. It doesn't have to stick, but you're just committing a whole bunch of sexual sin
I know.
and bonds to people that television might not show you. The bond that is made, but there is a bond that is made, and if not a bond, a shame that just builds up inside of you that may not be there right now, but then all of a sudden one day when you want to give yourself to your husband or to your wife, you have that shame that's inside. That is a reason why before Miss Emily and I ever got married, I came clean with her and just told her, I said, hey, look, this is what I was a teenager, and I messed up, and I wanted to let her know before we ever got married because I wanted her to know what she was getting into, and I wept over the phone with her because I was sorry for what I had done in the past, and she was such a catch.
Oh, dear.
She really was, and she still is, and so I just wanted to be honest with her, and it was like, for me, my insides, I remember that day. I was sitting on my bed when I told you, and I remember thinking, I'm going to tell her, and she's going to break up with me. She's going to leave me because she's not going to want to be with somebody that gave himself up intimately. And it scared me to death because I really didn't want to lose her. But I said this, I said, you know what? I did it, and I need to come clean, and I just need to tell her the truth and show her that I'm sorry for what I did and that I believe God has forgiven me for what I've done, and I'm trying to move on. And I just prayed, and then I told her, and I'm thankful that I did tell her, and I'm thankful that today we are married. And things did work out. I'm not going to say that's going to happen for everybody, but I believe that really helped start our marriage off the correct way as well.
Absolutely, that honesty.
Yeah.
Opening up beforehand. And I will say that as someone receiving that news, that I did go to my parents then and get counsel from them on what to do, and if that is something that I still should move forward with a relationship with him. And of course they encouraged me, I mean, based on his character today, or at that point, that's not who he was anymore. That was just a mistake in his past. So I did get counsel, and I would encourage that, with just a multitude of counselors, there is safety.
Here's something I think is important, to somebody who, you've already given your purity away. I want you to understand, let's be clear about something here. You have not ruined your life. You have not disqualified yourself. God can still use you. You are not beyond God's grace. 1 John 1:9. If we confess our sins, he is faithful and just to forgive us our sins and to cleanse us from all unrighteousness. God doesn't just forgive you, he cleanses you. And that means this. It means that your past doesn't define you, right? It does not define you. Your value has not changed. God doesn't look at you and see that you gave up your purity. God sees you as somebody that he loves and wants to use. And so if you get your forgiveness from him, you are just as valuable to him as somebody who stayed pure, right? So your past doesn't define you. Your value has not changed, and your future is not ruined. So you may not be able to change your past, but God can completely change who you're going to be in your future if you'll just give it to him. And so another one, how can somebody rebuild their boundaries and pursue holiness after failure? So here's the thing. You've messed up, all right? For those of you that have messed up, and honestly, if you haven't messed up, maybe you're on the brink of messing up and you want to be careful, here's some things that you can also do as well. Number one is be honest with God. No hiding, no excuses, but just real repentance. Like David did. Create in me a clean heart, O God, and renew a right spirit within me. There wasn't any hiding. There wasn't any excuses. He didn't say, but Lord, you don't understand how I was in a bad situation. And Lord, he didn't try to give any excuses. He was sorrowful for what he had done, and he just put it right out there. So don't give any excuses or anything like that, but give real repentance to God. Be sorry for what you have done and ask God for that forgiveness. And then another one is change your environment. If nothing around you changes, then nothing changes within you. You have got to change your surroundings, or nothing else is going to change. So distance yourself from temptation. If you find you're always being tempted, I remember the old preachers used to preach on this all the time. For the drunkard, the guy who is addicted to drinking and alcohol, and every time he comes home from work, he always passes by the bar, and the preacher says this: take a different way home. Right? Distance yourself from temptation. If you find yourself getting into a tempting situation, get out of it. You can control things a lot more than you think as far as this kind of stuff goes. Get yourself away from these tempting situations. Adjust relationships if needed, right? So if you're finding that your relationship with your boyfriend, your girlfriend, if you find your relationship is in a position where you're doing things you shouldn't be doing, adjust your relationship. Put up those boundaries. Distance yourself from those tempting situations. Remove triggers. So remove those opportunities, once again, that you guys have. When I was younger, I tell young people this all the time. When I was younger, I planned to sin. Right? You don't fall into sin, right? We said this last podcast. You don't fall into sin. You jump into it. You plan to sin. I remember there were times Mom and Dad were going out for the week or going out for the weekend. I made plans to go to the beach and get drunk with my friends. I planned it. It's not something that I fell into and was like, oops, this was an accident. No, but I planned it. So remove those situations that you can fall into, supposedly. I don't believe in falling into it, but anyway. Okay, and then step 3. Set stronger boundaries than before. This one's big. Don't go back to the same lines that you've already crossed. Move it back further. If you're finding out, and here's an easy one, you're talking to, you're messaging some girl alone, by yourselves, whatever, till 10 o'clock at night, you find yourself starting to send messages that you shouldn't be sending. Well, maybe you should cut it back to 9 o'clock instead. Set a different goal. Instead of saying, I'm going to talk to you at 9, if you can't handle that, set it back to 8 o'clock. Don't go back to the same line and say, we'll just, we'll get forgiveness and we'll try it again. Set a different goal. Move that line farther back. Really try to prevent yourself from falling into the same thing over and over again. Here's a good one. Pursue God, not just rules. So purity is not sustained by willpower, right? It's sustained by a relationship with God. So it's not about your willpower. I've already made that statement. You are not strong enough. You really aren't. It's your relationship with God. Do you have a good relationship with God? And then give yourself time to heal. So shame will fade as the truth replaces it. And obedience will build your confidence again. So shame will fade as the truth replaces it. What truth? That God can forgive you, right? That God's grace is strong enough. So holiness it's not about pretending that you never failed. It's about choosing a different direction moving forward. So I'm going to be holy, not because I've never done anything wrong, but because I'm going to live differently from here on out. All right. And so let's make these decisions and try to stay pure and know that as a young person, it is possible to stay pure.
Yes. And then as we wrap this up, I am encouraged by the feedback that I received last week about the books that I recommended. And so I know some of you checked those out. And so I wanted to give you a couple suggestions again to go with this topic of purity. So these are not actually books that I have read, but they have been recommended to me. And the first one that I'm going to give is for the ladies, and it is one that I am going to read because I just recently found out about it and thought it would apply well with this topic. So it's called And the Bride Wore White, and it's by Dannah Gresh. And so I know that she's already got the book out. There's a new revised version coming out. The ebook will be here May 5th, and then the actual book will be here May 31st. So if you want to hold out For the new revised one, you can wait until May, or there's one already out and you could get started reading that. And so that is one that I'm picking up to read. And then for the guys, the reviews were really, really good on this one. And so I know there is an audiobook version out for the guys that like to be read too. So it's called...
I'm one of them.
Yes, Fight Like a Man, and that's by Emeal, Zwayne. And so those are 2 books. I'll have to put them in the show notes for you guys, but those would be 2 good recommendations, one for the girls, one for the guys, on purity.
Right. Yeah, and those are great. Hopefully you will look those up. And maybe you're someone who has stayed pure and you want to keep honoring God, or maybe you're someone who wishes you could go back and change some decisions that you've made. But the good news of the gospel is this, that God can protect purity, and he can also restore people that have lost it. Through Christ, no one is stuck in their past, and God can give you a clean heart and a fresh start. And so, hey, if you're enjoying these podcasts, make sure you jump into the comment section below and say hi. We like it when people say hi. And as always, have a wonderful life.